we are going to make this Dreamcast into this. Oh yeah, that is what we call pretty damn awesome. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's just awesome that you're tuning in. So in this time we're living with the retro game system. There is a lot of great stuff that you can buy. There are so much, let's say, new developments for old stuff that we grow up with. And I think that is pretty damn cool. And one of these things are the Dreamcase. And in the previous video I did a building video / tutorial and just showing you how you need to put it together. Just more like a fun video and to enjoy together in the premiere. But now we are going to talk about in depth about the product itself. But what is also very important is who is this case for and what can you do with it, because there are some things that you need to take in consideration before you're going to order something like this. That brings me back to my previous video where I did a battle with the two Dreamcast system, because here in my collection I have two versions. I have the GDEmu and I have the DreamShell version with the hard disk. And the reason why I wanted to focus a quick look into these systems, because if you're going to build yourself in DreamShell, you're going to need yourself in GDEmu, and maybe you can build one with the DreamShell. That is the reason why I want to talk about it first. This DreamShell version with a hard disk is possible to build inside this case. I did some measurement and it's just not a problem. But there are some things you need to know. Later on this video I will tell you that there are some special features of this case that are specially made for the GDEmu and you can't use it with the DreamShell. So it is possible to build it in, but it is not really compatible. But we're going to need the GDEmu for the DreamShell, because the DreamShell is specially made for this PCB, for this way to play your games with an SD card. It has some very cool solutions that were very cheap. For example, this Dreamcast 3D printed casing that you can use for very easy access for your SD card. The finishing touch for your Sega Dreamcast if you have a GDEmu and don't want to spend a lot of money. But I think the DreamShell, even if this thing looks pretty cool in my opinion, the DreamShell is just the next level for modding your Sega Dreamcast. But no further ado, so let's talk about the TR5 stick Dreamcase shell. So I already mentioned that this thing is just the next level of modding in my opinion. There are quite some different ways you can modify your Sega Dreamcast. There are some transparent casings, but I think the Dreamcase, I really love the metal shell. And there are some improvements that you just need to see. So let's do this quick unboxing together. I just wanted to show you what's inside and how it's packed up. As you can see, it comes with a very nice shipping box, but also with a very cool art box. The casing itself is fully made of metal and this thing weighs quite much. And I think it's pretty cool. But beside the point that the design itself, I personally really like it, but it's more like a personal taste. As you can see here at the back, we have quite some new options compared with the original system. But I'm not going to use this 3D printed casing anymore. Nope. Everything is going to be disassembled, the GDEmu, and there are even some new adjustments with the Dreamcase casing. If you want to see it, I have a previous video for that, but let's focus on what did I change and what are the improvements with the new casing. When you're done with building the DreamShell Sega Dreamcast, you can see this thing looks completely different and there are some minor changes. So let's begin with the power supply, because this is quite interesting. Okay, with the building video you can already see that I'm removing the original power supply and this thing will not be coming back in the new shell. This one will be replaced with a completely new PCB that will be assembled the same way. It is a very nice way to go and really convenient, because we can just use ourselves a 12 volt 3 amp power supply. With the GDEmu we're also having some changes over here. We're having the SD card adapter that goes into the GDEmu with a ribbon cable that goes to the back. Also we need to solder 2 wires on the PCB, simply because we're going to use the button on the back for switching between disks. When you're done and plugged it in, it's very easy to switch a disk, because you just need to press a button on the outside. Also we can change the SD card very easily from the back, so that is pretty convenient. With my build I'm just using the original fan that came with my system. You can use a Noctua fan. All the adapters and how you need to assemble it is very easy. But if you want to do a fan improvement, and I can recommend doing it, you just use the extended cord, put it on the shell and we're having the fan in place. But even if you want to use a better fan, I think the cooling of the system is a big improvement in my opinion. Here at the left side we're also having some ventilation, and when you're putting this thing on, you can feel it pushes the fresh air through the system. So the cooling, in my opinion, is way better than the original system. But you really like to have a casing like the Dreamcast, but you're not familiar with disassembly of the Sega Dreamcast and assembly of the casing. I can already tell you, it's not very complex, simply because the Sega Dreamcast is just a very old retro system and there are quite some components, don't get me wrong, but if you're looking at how you need to disassemble it, it's very easy and you just need to pay a little bit of attention to see how you need to disassemble it, but it is not really hard to do. But how about how you need to put it together? Disassembly is always the easiest part to do so. When you're going to put it together, at first I needed to watch tutorials a couple of times because I had no idea how to assemble it. But when looking at tutorial, and the tutorial of the official company tutorial is just great. He did a very nice job with it. I also did assembly, but his video is way better, I'm just going to be honest. And putting it together, you can see that it is similar to how the original console was assembled at the first place. Of course there are some minor changes, what I already mentioned with the GDEmu, the power supply. But it is very convenient, and the biggest challenge you will face is soldering the two wires. If you skip the part, you can do so, but you can't use the button on the back. And that is just a little bit of a bummer in my opinion. So you need to solder. But what I do like about this casing, that we have the option to use the HDMI mod in combination with this casing. This casing is specially made for the GDEmu and for the HDMI mod. I didn't use the HDMI mod because I don't have it. I'm just going to use the easy way, an external HDMI cable. I'm just going to be honest with you guys, I was hyped before I even started with this casing itself because I am a really big Sega Dreamcast fan. And seeing the final result of this device, it's just amazing. I really love the light up feature, it looks amazing, it weighs quite much now because this thing is one big massive metal block. And yeah, the design, and that is more like a personal taste, that is something that you're going to love it or you're just going to hate it. By the end, if you're putting it all together, if you're buying a Sega Dreamcast, if you're getting yourself a GDEmu, and even if you want to buy, let's say, an HDMI mod, in combination with this case, your Sega Dreamcast going to be crazy expensive. But before we're going to wrap it up, let's enjoy some gameplay. Wicked style.
Prepare to strike, now! Hadouken!
But I think this is just a great product if you want to upgrade your Sega Dreamcast. Of course, this is specially made for the GDEmu, so if you want to have an original disc-based system, this is not an option for you. I think if you're having a GDEmu, HDMI mod or both, and you want to have a casing, this is just the next level. I really love the casing, I'm very satisfied about the quality. Let me know in the comments what do you think of this. I will leave a link in the description where you can find the case. Thanks for watching, consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next video.